Hey, what's up, TikTok? This is Dr. Cunningham. Yes, I am in my athletic gear, per usual. I like to surprise y'all and just pop up with my wig and my makeup on and stuff like, it all dolled up. But you know what, a regular day when I am going to the gym, at home and writing, and, I'm able to dress more comfortably. Um, but I decided to pop up on TikTok today because I wanted to share something that's actually a little more serious regarding my life, and I felt led to share transparently with consideration of my own journey with regards to sexuality and the ideas about sex. Why? Because I believe I've maintained a standard for a decent number of years. Ever since I was young, I really was taught the importance of sex within life, but then also how and when, or more so when, appropriate to engage in sex. In the beginning, it was a matter of just listening to what I was taught, but I also was, at a young age, very insightful and willing to study. So even while I was in high school, I was studying about sex and how far I choose to go. And because I believe, again, sex is a spirit, soul, body experience, I made up my mind, essentially ever since I was in high school, that I was going to wait until I got married. And up to this point, 43 years old, um, never been married. So when I was younger, meaning like before college, before the age of 18, I experimented a little. But I never went too far. Like it was like, kiss here. I attempted certain sexual acts at the same time. Never engaged in intercourse. Never engaged in intercourse. Did not engage in intercourse. Um, and so I considered those years my experimental years, especially right after my father died. I believe that was kind of a way of searching for love, because I was about 11 years old, between like 11, 12, 13. And then when I got to high school, that's when I was kind of like, nope, and just stopped some of the experimentation for the most part. I can recall maybe one other guy that I kissed when I was like my senior year. Um, and I would recommend not engaging in any risky sexual behavior while under the influence, because now that I'm thinking about it, it was when I was under the influence. Pretty much between like junior year, senior year, and like my freshman year of college is when I really experimented with alcohol and marijuana. And tried popping pills once, didn't feel the effect. I'm very thankful. And now today I'm not hooked on any drugs or alcohol. Very thankful. Just for the sake of transparency, I'm going to share as much as I can so y'all can catch the blueprint. But what I am aware of is that I was still able to continue through the entirety of my life with consideration of my education. And there was a point in time where I had to choose between whether I was going to be like literally like a alcohol and drug partier, or choose my education. I chose my education because there was literally like 1 week after like a weekend where I drank and smoked weed until I couldn't. And then for an entire week, I didn't learn anything. So then I stopped drinking and smoking marijuana ever since that point. And since an adult, ever so often I utilize cannabis, but it was more so for the sake of focus. And I did not allow myself the space and time to get hooked, meaning like I don't require it. I don't require marijuana or alcohol. And when I say alcohol, that means like a glass of wine with dinner once a month, if not maybe every 3 months, every 6 months. But I don't require any of those substances. Do you understand what I mean? Now, with consideration of sexual activity as an adult, because that's where I really see myself in a space of stability and making true consensual choices, because kids are experimenting when they're kids. But when you're an adult, you're very mindful of what sex means, what it's about, what you're doing, when you're doing, because I was always sober and did not want to engage in any situation. So again, and I've shared this story before, but essentially, as an adult, I only had access to through attending PWIs, which are predominantly white institutions, during the 15 years while I was in college, from 2000 until 2015. So all of them were Caucasian. And when I say that, in order to specify, in my freshman year of college, I kissed a female. And then when I was in my master's program, toward the end, I was actually dating a Caucasian gentleman. He was older, and both the female and the gentleman were older than myself, but the gentleman was significantly older, like 10, 12 years older than myself. But we got along nicely. We started discussing marriage. I thought that was a path, that I was going to take as far as marriage. And we kissed and stuff, but we actually, certain points in time where we made sure clothes were on. And if clothes were about to fall off, because I remember one time I was just like, nope, Rob, I can't do it. Can't do it. And he was like, okay, Norja. Okay, but you can stay. You go ahead and sleep in the room, and I'll sleep here downstairs on the couch, because he had his own home. And so we didn't do we made sure that we were going to remain pure until we got married. He had his own child, so he already had the experience previously with someone else, but he was willing to wait. But then we parted ways as well when I continued on to get my doctorate. Now, toward the end of my doctorate, and at that point I was 29 years old, I kissed another female. And again, all of them were Caucasian. So since that point, because of all of the sort of nuances of the connection at 29, I really made up in my mind that I was going to wait until I got married. What I didn't anticipate is 13 years later, because I am 43 now and still have yet to marry. And so at this point, I, done whatever I could, exercise, go to the gym, consider, meditation, and all these different forms of ways of, not focusing on sex. But then I also have to say, with the caveat, is that it's rare for me to meet someone that I find romantically attractive, because I am demisexual. So it's ever so often I meet someone where I'm just like, wow, we really connect, and I find them romantically attractive. So I can connect with a lot of people, and I can make a lot of friends, but it doesn't mean that they necessarily are a friend that becomes, hi, hello. That necessarily is a person then that I want to actually spend time with romantically. So then I literally waited until my 43rd birthday, and you all tell me your thoughts and opinion, if anyone else has ever done this. But like, I literally didn't really have much experience with toys or anything like that. Definitely not dildos. I knew of like vibrators and stuff because I'm a marriage and family therapist. We have to study all this stuff with consideration of working with couples. But on my 43rd birthday, went and visited family, returned home to California, and I literally utilized the dildo for the first time, which means I took my own virginity at 43 years old, you guys. Now, I'm saying this because, some people are like, oh my gosh, how long could you wait? I remember my 40th birthday, I was like, we're going to watch the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin. Because technically, still had a cherry, dude. And so I'm like, I waited until I was 43 because, I wasn't married to have sex with someone else. But I did utilize a dildo, and I'm, been transparent, literally, and honest. And I've never, paid for, a sex worker. I never was a sex worker. Like, there's just certain standards that I've always maintained. And I still believe in God. I believe in Jesus. And so this is for everybody that's in the church trying to judge and whether they think that I'm this person who's worth, considering or, as a Christian, and whether I backslid or not. Like 13, almost 14 years of waiting. I've prayed, I fasted with groups. And I was like, look, even for the sake of benefiting clients that I work with, I was teaching classes about sex, sexuality, and gender. I could talk about masturbation, but now I understand, at least from the dildo perspective, what a penis feels like within inside of me, because I got a womb, I got a vagina. But what I would like to hear from y'all is has anyone else waited, and has anyone else taken their own virginity? Honestly, just asking. Y'all have